action. Hi, Margaret.
Hey, Steph.
It's your first day back to Bear, 12 days on the road, a trip to DC for HR 919, and a trip to Chicago for the ABA. Tell me about it. Tell me about how you feel and give me a little bit of summary of the trip.
Sure. First of all, I'm great to be back at Bear. That's Berkeley Engineering and Research. You guys have a fabulous lab here that you let me come and learn and gather data. And you do all sorts of failure mode effects and analysis. So this is where some of the best testing is done. You guys have a lot of expertise on these type of vapor explosions and where the flame arrestor is missing. So HR 919, so everybody knows, is the Portable Fuel Container Safety Act. And that is all about making portable fuel containers safe again, because they were safe. I have this replica that just came in today, so this is the first thing I got when I came in. This is one of the Davy lamps from 200 years ago. They used to use these in a mine because the methane gas pockets could explode. And they realized from that point forward that when you put this little mesh screen around it, they called it a flame trap back then, this flame trap would stop or arrest the flame. So here's one that I made trying to get my head around it. This is just an open container bottle I had in a cupboard, and I put a piece of screening in it. And that's a flame arrestor. A flame arrestor will arrest or stop the flame. It'll quench it. It will stop the ignition from getting inside and exploding all of the volume of liquid out.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting. I see flame arrestors on some products.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen them on gas cans, for example, in years.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I did remember having flame arrestor on the gas cans, but not anymore.
I know, it's terrible. Morally, ethically, I can't tell you why that is. I can only say competitively some companies have done it. I think that when the insurance companies get their head around the fact that their liability is not having it on here, the commercial liability programs shouldn't write a contract without requiring just one sentence, must have a flame arrestor for any flammable liquids, and they won't have any more liability problems on any of these situations. I want to make sure I'm answering your question about voluntary. Right now it's a voluntary thing. It's not a requirement. The crazy part that hurts my heart is DOD requires it for everybody in a military setting. In military, you must have a flame arrestor. OSHA has required it. I think somewhere around the 70s or 80s is when OSHA finally made it a requirement. CPSC did a lot of research and work. They were on board with that. Consumer Reports, everybody back then was saying we needed them, and many products had them on there. I grew up with this thing about vapors can explode, but I thought when I had a product that said bioethanol, biofuel, fire rated safe for indoor and outdoor, and I wasn't buying a gallon of gas for $3 a gallon. I was buying ventless fireplace fuel at $25 a gallon. What I didn't know is it did not have this simple piece of mesh screening. This little tiny thing should have been in that product. So they'd sell it to me at $25 when it probably cost them $1 or $2, and they didn't put the safety guard on because it's voluntary. I hope I'm explaining that part.
So is that liquid, is it a viscous liquid? Is it a thicker liquid?
They used to have ones that were a gel, and they were required to take those off the market because of this problem.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we had some bad engineering decisions that were being made, and people were being told, according to the manufacturers, they were told by agencies that if they took the thickening agent out, then they could get around it. And so some of them said, why should we put a flame arrestor on there that costs us a few pennies? We're not required to. It puts us at a competitive disadvantage. If I take the thickening agent out, I've complied with the minimum standard, therefore it must not be something I did wrong. So that voluntary standard, which is what we've had for 200 years, is why it's safe sometimes, and it's completely an IED, that it's a bomb that will explode on, most of the time it's consumers, families, students in science classes. Those are probably the primary locations.
And why do you think it hasn't changed with the evidence that you have acquired and put together? Why do you think there's a reluctancy, other than money?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I think if I were to give you the simplest answer, I think that is about bad data. I'm going to show you something now that you asked me about it.
Okay.
I want to just bring you to some examples where people would rather put the junk science out there than put out the hard truth and facts. So I am going to pull up my famous facts here. This might not be the best examples. Let me see if I've got some better ones. So this is what a flame arrestor is. Actually, let's start over, because you know what? I should have had that